Okay, you probably didn't hear this on the Zoom. Call this meeting to order, a special session, a special meeting for the City Council in a hybrid format where some of us are together and some of us are on Zoom. Welcome to those joining us on Zoom. We're going to start with a Pledge of Allegiance, and Councilman Donahue is going to lead it for us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First item of business on the special meeting agenda is a review of the general plan update. And we have Mr. Sanks here to give us a presentation. This is for information only.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council and City staff. Yes, thank you for introducing the 2022 General Plan Update. This project has come back to you, as you may recall, about a year and a half ago. You readopted what's basically the 2010 General Plan. We were going to have a procedural lapse in regards to when the voters could adopt a new one. So City Council, as a stopgap measure, readopted the 2010 General Plan so that we'd remain in compliance with the state statute to have basically an adopter approved, a voter adopted general plan effective at all times. So over the last 18 months with COVID, we kind of took a break from that project, and then we came back to it at the direction of council and the city manager to go ahead and refresh the 2010 general plan. So what we have is actually the 2022 general plan. We anticipate we probably go into a 2030 cycle and get back on the, every 10 years, if you will, by the time we get to around 2030. So I'd like to do a brief presentation. We have a very, I know you have a short amount of time tonight. I want to respect the council's time. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and share my screen if you don't mind. I'm going to do a PowerPoint just to kind of illustrate where we're at with the general plan and really just kind of go over the highlights of what we've done. Can you see my screen, Council?
Yes.
Can you see it? Yes, to add.
Wonderful. Okay, it should say 2022 General Plan Study Session.
5033. Okay, thank you.
Great. And I will, Terry, I'll send this over to you after the meeting. So, so today's just a study session, so no action, of course, is required. We will be just looking at this together today for you to comment, provide staff with your feedback if you have any. We've already had, we'll be having a third P&Z study session. We've received feedback from a couple commissioners. We've received feedback from partner agencies. We distributed the draft to partner agencies on January 3rd, at which time the council received a copy and the Planning and Zoning Advisory Commission also received a copy. So everybody's had the document since around the, January 3rd. So I welcome feedback tonight. Anything that you give me tonight, I can get into the P&Z draft that I'll be presenting to them next Tuesday in advance of your regularly scheduled meeting this month, which will be a second study session for you. So I can get all of that input put in there. And then I take it to P&Z for a special recommendation to council on the 22nd, and then a special council meeting on the 30th. Now, I'll go to the next slide where you can see all of these dates. They'll probably look really tiny to you on your screen, but these are all of the dates. So this is our schedule. So January 3rd was the beginning of the 60-day agency review. And more or less today, of course, we are now at the first city council study session. And then we will be on the 8th, we'll have another P&Z study session. We're going to go ahead and take it to the RPG on the 10th. So Marissa's helping me get that scheduled to focus primarily just on obviously the open space element of the general plan. And then I'm working to get in front of the Historical Society to see if they'd like any special verbiage tailored towards the new PW Litchfield Heritage Center, or if they want to add some additional images. Again, the document's it's supposed to be forward planning, if you will, for the next 10 years rather than a kind of a history review of the city. But we always like to keep a hefty amount of our rich history in the plan to know where we came from to guide us to where we're going. So I promise to keep this brief, Mayor, so I will get through this quickly. So again, just to highlight the dates, we've got the 22nd. Go ahead.
Before you go, are you presenting this diagram to us at this point, or are you going to do that in a moment? This map of the city with all the uses in it?
Can you see the actual PowerPoint or not? Because it shows that my screen is sharing on the PowerPoint on my side.
Well, I can see the general plan land use map, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, on the screen, it should have all of the dates on the left side and then the general plan land use map on the right side. Is that not what it's showing?
It does. And so my question is it time for questions on this map or comments on this map?
Oh, you're welcome to comment anytime, sure, on the map. But the map's actually being refreshed right now by EPS Group. They were provided the CAD files, and I'm working with Ivan over at their offices to refresh both the general plan land use map, to tighten it up a bit. We already did this exercise 2 years ago, but then we're updating the open space and rec map, the circulation map, and the context map. So there's 4 graphics that will be coming in our updated version to you, certainly before P&Z takes action on the item on the 22nd. Again, it's been on a very expedited schedule. But I'm happy to I'm ready for notes whenever, if you'd like to comment on the map that's on the screen.
I have 2 comments then. One is, if you go to the corner of Camelback and Dysart, you have in that area, that square that's part of Litchfield Park, you have a red area and then you have a purple area.
Yes.
And I want you to check to see if that coloring is correct based upon the agreements that were made with the developer.
Oh, okay.
Because there was a change, I believe, after they did not develop any type of residential in that area within a certain period of time, and I don't remember if it was 24 months or something, but it was a period of time, then the ability to put residential in that purple area went away. And so I'm questioning
that maybe in the development
area.
Mayor, is that correct in the development agreement?
I believe it's in the development agreement, yes.
And where is this, Tom?
This is at the corner of Dysart and the Camelback.
Mr. Mayor,
Taco Bell.
Mr. Mayor,
You see there's a red area and a purple area?
Yeah.
There was originally an agreement to allow them to put some residential in that purple area,
We changed.
but they had to do it within a certain period of time, so it went away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Mr. Mayor,
Can we have this made big enough so we can see it and get rid of this schedule on the left-hand side? Because I've got it so tiny on the right-hand side, I can't see it.
Give me 1 second and I'll do that. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna share the actual land use map on the screen, and that'll be a better exhibit. Let me share screen with a different exhibit, because this slide is too small. There we go. So we're talking about this right here, this purple this space right here, correct, Mayor? And then Woody, go ahead. Sorry.
It's the purple area next to the red area at Camelback and Dysart. I want you to check, because I know there were special rules on that, and the ability to build residential went away because it wasn't put in place within the time limits. Yes, Mr. Scout.
yes, Mayor, you are correct. There was an original development agreement that provided for the purple and the red areas. It was amended a couple of years later to eliminate the purple area.
All right. Woody, then if I may, I'll do the homework on this in terms of making sure, but we didn't initiate a general plan amendment to take it back, right? So we could revert it back with this adoption of the general plan then. Since the DA changed, took out the residential, we could just take this back to commercial.
Yeah, I don't think a general plan amendment was done.
Okay, so then we'll clean it up with this.
Yeah, I want it to be correct if we adopt this new general plan, I want it to be correct in the new plan.
Understood.
And then the second comment is that the colors that are in here are not particularly easy to differentiate. So you've got a color that is commercial, and you've got a color that is mixed use, and the two colors they both look like they're red to me. So just, Woody, when you redo this map, let's make sure that the different colors are clear enough in terms of their difference, so we know what we know what we're looking at when we're looking at the map. And then at the corner of Wigwam and Litchfield Road, it'd be the northwest corner, there's an area that I assume that that area is being shown as red because and it means it's a mixed use area.
Yes.
But I want to refer you to the zoning that was done on this parcel, because it's not exactly mixed use. It has some special conditions on it, such as it needs to be a resort style architecture, and it has to fit in with that. I don't know. We had a paragraph that's in there that modifies the mixed use, and so I want to make sure that we have that accurately depicted.
Mayor, if I may, you're correct. The language for that parcel is actually in the general plan itself, where it calls out the minimum 75,000 square foot of commercial shall be developed in a mixed use project. It's actually in the general plan because JDM didn't continue with the zoning case. So the intention would be when they file that zoning case would need to complement the language of the general plan. And so it's shown on, we need to fix the color because it's only lightly hatched and you can barely see the difference with it being mixed use.
There's hatches on it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Really?
there's a hatch on it. I could zoom in, but it's probably hard to see on these little
Never
screens.
mind.
But you have to make it quite bigger.
I'll take your word for
line
it.
weight's heavier.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that it's clear what this map is telling people.
Okay.
Those are my comments.
Okay, wonderful. So I had the, I can let the PowerPoint go. I wanted to give you some updates as to where we've been. We've got an agency comment from Luke Air Force Base that's already been incorporated into the document. And this is a standard issue letter that they give to all agencies when they do their general plan about the graduated density and the proximity to the base. And that language has already been put in, a portion of that language, like the executive summary, if you will, has been put in the general plan already, the current draft. We further received an update from MAG where we have to put an acknowledgement regarding aggregate at mining operations, although there are no active sites in the city of Litchfield Park. I can slide that language into the environmental element, and that one will be updated. Aside from those two items and these two map items that you brought up tonight and the refresh of the exhibits that EPS Group is doing, that's what I would anticipate you will see at your regularly scheduled meeting on the 16th. So you'll see those items picked up.
Councilman Brenner Watson.
Jason, I don't know if you're going to go all the way through the whole document or if your intention was, but I had a question on page 15.
Okay.
3.A.2, your fourth bullet point. It just feels like something's missing in the verbiage there.
And it's page 15 of the document?
Yeah. It says, conflicts with the guiding principles and objectives raise concerns. It feels like maybe, is there supposed to be an action there or something more to that sentence?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop share, and then I'm going to reshare the page of the document, and then we can look at it together. All right, so I'm on page 14. Here's page 15. Is this the page that you're referring to the mayor, Council Brenner Watson, Councilwoman?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let me see if there's.
Oh, wait,
No, I don't think so.
No, it's not.
That shows 15 on here, but it shows a different page.
And maybe page 14.
Oh, I see. It's probably because it's in the packet with other stuff. Sorry about that. I'm looking. I have the documents all separate on my side, as opposed to.
Yeah.
It's page 11 in the document you're looking at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. In order to strive to be a good neighbor, the proposed use and its method of operation will be compatible with existing or planned development in the vicinity. That's
the one above that.
Okay,
it's the one above
guiding
that.
principles and objectives raise concerns. Oh, I see. Okay, I'll fix that language so that it makes sense.
All right.
This is an oversight.
Any other comments or questions from council?
Vice Mayor.
Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Jason, back to the map, you've got a lot of area that's, I guess, in our strip annex area that we probably never intend to take. are we sure that what you're showing is what's really out there and what's planned?
Through the mayor, vice mayor, Faith, the land use map has, I'm not aware of action taken by council that would have restricted or reduced the planning area of the city, even if we haven't annexed those parcels. You know, in the 8 years that I've been working with the city, I haven't heard any direction to change that, nor have we annexed any of that area, but I believe it may still be in our planning area. I don't recall any intergovernmental agreements that would have taken that planning area and sent it to an adjacent jurisdiction. At least since 2014, I'm not aware of any. And prior to Pam's retirement, she reviewed the land use map that's in front of you, because it's what was also adopted just like a year and a half ago, for that. But I can look into that and report back to you, if I may, on the 16th at our next study session.
Okay, my other question,
The one that you might look at most closely, I can't find my map again, but is the area at El Mirage and Camelback on the northwest corner.
On the screen share, it's this big blob up here that doesn't have the city boundary around it.
Right. Well, that red area, I don't know is it red or is it red crosshatched?
Cross, it's got.
So it's mixed.
The crosshatch indicates that it's not in the city limits, but it's within the planning area. It's a non-annexed area.
Not in the city limits, no black line.
The land use in there is not commercial.
Right, it says mixed use, commercial, multifamily, that's what it says.
It is, yeah, it is, there's an apartment complex there of those little houses.
I didn't know.
You know, what we could do is
too.
we could lighten the colors on the non-annexed areas so they don't appear to be within the city limits and make it more of a ghost color. Still leave the colorization, but ghost it if you think that it would be better represented that way.
It probably is a good idea.
Okay.
Jason, if you could make the crosshatches black rather than gray, then they might be more visible.
Okay, we can do that. And then I'll need to distinguish, because what we'll have is the cross-hatching of the mixed use of the Wigwam JDM 15 acres being mixed use, and this other crosshatch is intended to show non-annexed areas. But we can adjust the map however we feel. I think if we just ghost it, then we might not need to crosshatch it at all.
That's fine. All right. Any other questions from council or comments?
Vice Mayor,
Vice Mayor, please go ahead.
my second question, Jason, in the lower left corner, you've got the two schools there that are not within our city. Are we going to show them somehow not being within the city?
Through the chair,
The gray areas.
Vice Mayor, the black boundary shows the city limits.
Black line, yeah, black boundary, so it's outside the black boundary. Outside the black line, right?
So we're showing the schools purely just for informational purposes?
Yeah, we had a request at one point through this process to start labeling a lot of these parcels, because before they didn't used to be labeled with the school names. So people really didn't know what the grade boxes were. So I went in and I labeled them, and we're going to make that font larger so it's more legible. Because right now I'm squinting to read it myself, but we were asked to label it.
And you'll ghost it so we know it's not within the city?
Yeah, we can ghost that, anything outside of the black boundary, and we can actually make the black boundary bolder so it stands out more.
That would help.
Yep. Okay, will do.
Councilman Brainerd Watson.
Hi, Jason. I had one more question as I was reading this through. On page 25 of the packet, section 3.803, the first bullet makes a statement about the streets being developed by the developer, not by the city, any future streets, residential and commercial. And I was just curious, does that include the city center or beyond the city center?
Through the mayor, councilwoman, I might need to defer to Woody on this item. The issue with longstanding policy that I've understood, this is how we applied Sunset Terrace and the Rancho La Loma's PAD is that all of their streets would be private so that their long-term maintenance would be covered by the HOA dues, so that it wouldn't pass to the cost onto the city. So I believe the city would retain ownership of those streets within the city center, but I'll again have to defer to Woody on what those streets who will ultimately own those streets.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Jason, yes, that's correct. The city will continue to own those streets once they're built.
So do we need to maybe add some verbiage in there saying with the exception of the city center?
Sure. Would that be okay, Woody, if I add that in there? Maybe this is.
I'm sorry, which bullet point are you on?
The first one.
Yeah.
Under 3.803.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's fine. You know, accepting out the Litchfield Square streets.
Okay. Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. Do you have anything further, Mr. Sanks?
Dear Mayor, thank you everyone for the feedback. We'll get to work.
Perfect. We'll move this forward. Next item of business is a discussion and possible action to determine the minimum bid price for Litchfield Square Parcel 3. Mr. Williams, do you have a presentation?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Can everyone hear me on the Zoom call? Okay,
Yes.
Thank you. You'll remember we talked about for a while getting an appraisal on the different parcels, and through some discussions, we determined we actually didn't have to get an appraisal. Instead, we could obtain a broker valuation. We did have a little difficulty getting someone that could do the broker valuation for us, and the reason why, it was hard to find a broker that understood the CFD and the impact it had on this property. We could find brokers, but not people that knew CFDs or understood the possibility of a parking sales tax. So anyway, we eventually found someone that was qualified to do it, and they came back with a BOV that you see in your packet. Again, this broker valuation is only for Parcel 3, Lot 3. That is the lot just south of Scout Lodge, the one, of course, that Mike Hertha and his partners have previously been interested in. That BOV came back at $11.50 per square foot. There was some discussion there because we wanted to make sure that the broker understood the impact the CFD had on this property, because it is a huge liability on this property, because whoever builds this parcel will, of course, pay into that CFD. It's an encumbrance liability, and also the possibility of a parking sales tax. If that is imposed, again, it does impact the value of this property. So again, that valuation came back at $11.50 per square foot. So what we need council to do tonight is establish a minimum bid on this lot. And then we will advertise that. We're going to be going out for bid next week on this property. That ad will run next Monday through Thursday. We'll be accepting bids next Tuesday through Friday. But again, we need council to determine a minimum bid that you're willing to accept. And then we'll put it out there, of course, and see where the offers come in at and go from there. Any questions so far? Okay. Mr. Mayor.
If there's no questions, then is there a motion to establish a minimum bid for Parcel 3 of the Litchfield Square project in the amount of $11.50 per square foot?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion by council?
I do have one question.
Uh-huh.
Way back when, seems like 100 years ago, when we first started talking about the land, I just remember the number $15 a square foot. Was that for the actual dirt? I mean, we were between 15 and
Yeah.
18.
Well, it was probably it was probably a discussion when we set a minimum bid price for the parcel that's between the current businesses and the church.
Okay.
And we went through a process, to come up with that, and we came back to council and said, this is what we think we should set it at.
Each parcel will have a different price.
It could, unless we were looking at someone who is interested in multiple parcels.
Okay.
And then we might look at a different,
So it's
it might be
parcel
something
by
different.
Is what we're pricing.
Yes, because it'll change. Once we get this first parcel actually developed, and we get the streets in and the parks in, and we've got a building going up,
Increase the value, yeah.
then the other parcels probably increase in value.
Okay.
Also, the first developer probably has the most risk, because they'll be here the longest for the rest of the parcels to get developed around them.
Correct, yeah.
And they can come in, like, for example, if you buy a home in a subdivision, if you're the first buyer, generally that price on that home is cheaper than the rest, because you're the one that takes the risk of establishing it.
Correct.
So that should be understood in this parcel as well.
Okay, any further discussion or questions? If not, all those in favor of establishing a minimum bid price at $11.50 per square foot, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We have a provision for an executive session to discuss negotiations for the lease of real property related to the city's hilltop parcel. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
All those,
tag team.
yeah, it is. All those in favor of going into executive session under item 4B, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're in executive session. Yeah, it's always their fault. Okay, we're back into the regular meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn the special meeting? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And
Is there a second? Okay, any discussion? All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you for participating in the special meeting. Appreciate you taking your time for an extra meeting. We've got a couple of these coming up, and we appreciate your flexibility. Thank you.
Not all.